What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie. Charlie here. And today I want to discuss how quitting weed changed my life. So when I was initially on my journey of trying to quit weed, I didn't quit weed wanting the outcome was going to change my life. I wasn't like, I want to change my life by smoking weed, by quitting weed. I was one of those people, like most weed heads, that you smoke so much and you smoke so much just to be normal that you will really fool yourself into thinking that weed is not really affecting your life. You will say, well, I can smoke weed and go to work. I can do all the regular things. I can have meaningful relationships. I can advance in my career. I can do things throughout the day and not be on the couch lazy. So weed is not really affecting my life in general. So we won't really connect the two. But I didn't realize weed had as much of an impact on my life until I actually quit. I wanted to quit weed because I just simply was tired of weed holding me, having this change on me. I got tired of feeling like I needed weed when I woke up. I needed weed before I went to work. I needed weed when I was on my lunch break. I needed weed to eat. I needed weed to sleep. I didn't really so much need weed to sleep as much, but I still wanted to smoke weed at nighttime. Throughout the whole day, I wanted to be high. And I got tired of feeling like that. I didn't like the feeling of being in my sober state and not feeling at ease, not feeling myself. But I would be like, is weed really a problem? Because, it's not affecting my work. It's not affecting my relationships. I don't even feel like I was hiding weed from my wife because I just myself felt, like I shouldn't be doing it. She never told me that I had to quit, but I just felt a conviction that I probably shouldn't be smoking weed every day, but I still was doing it. So in turn, I was lying and I wasn't doing. So it was so much more so a dishonesty thing with my wife, where it was causing an issue, not so much me being high causing an issue with our relationship. Causing a issue with our relationship. But when I did quit weed, I noticed that it was affecting my drive in life. Because as men, we need drive in order to get to the next step, get to the next level. Whether it's in our career, any personal journey, we need to drive. And I never thought weed really was affecting my drive on how I dealt with life. But I realized that me being high, I may had an idea about something or wanted to change something or felt uneasy about something, and I would smoke weed and be okay with it and kind of not actually pursue change, not actually go to the next step, because you smoke weed and you say, well, it's not really a big deal. So I didn't realize until I actually quit weed that actually weed was holding me back. Weed was preventing me from being at my healthiest state, preventing me from pursuing health goals as far as change. I'm still not perfect, but as far as eating more vegetables, eating more fruit, exercising more, running more, doing cardio. These things, I didn't quit weed with the intention to do these things more, but just like naturally, I started doing these things more once I quit weed. Even this channel, because I have a background, I have a degree in film and video production, and I pretty much had quit any desire of picking up my camera or doing any kind of film, any kind of creative visual work. I kind of had pretty much put that in the garbage can. And I wasn't sad about it. It wasn't like, because I always, the older I got, and when I got a family and got older, I'm not really a fan of the whole follow your dreams type rhetoric. I'm still not so much. I still battle with myself and not make this a follow your dreams type outlook on life. But so I would say I was content with doing that. But whatever the case, I had quit pursuing my passion or what I enjoyed or my talent. I think it's kind of ironic that, like I said, I never in a million years would thought I would make a YouTube channel about quitting weed. That's, if you would have told me that 2, 3, 4 years ago, I'm like, okay. 5 years ago, I've been like, I don't believe you. So I pretty much had sold all of my camera equipment, all of my lighting, all of my microphones. I had 3 cameras. I sold my newest 2 cameras, and I started this channel with literally my first camera I bought, like back in 2009, 2010. So I'm doing videos on this channel with a damn near 15-year-old camera. But when I quit weed, it just really opened my mind back up to pursuing my passion or pursuing film, and almost doing it under a new lens. Not just because I still probably wouldn't create anything visually just for entertainment purposes, but now that I have this new edge of quitting weed and pursuing a better life, and I can intertwine video production with this, it just has opened up a new outlook on me going back into video production. But I would not have went this route had I not actually quit weed. So by quitting weed, it changed it gave me a more active lifestyle. I went back into pursuing my actual hobbies. I wasn't just I'm still, of course, doing day-to-day work, but I'm doing something that is more meaningful and may have a greater outcome in the future. And I would not have known this unless I quit weed. And I didn't have this intention before I quit weed. So before you say that, I can do everything in life, I'm okay, I can smoke weed and still be the best person. Don't fool yourself. If you think you're great while you're smoking weed, try to quit weed for a month, for 30 days, and see how much better you can be. To say that if you feel like you're at a good state while you are smoking weed on a daily basis, to say that you won't be better if you chose to not be shackled by weed every day, to say that you wouldn't be better, you're fooling yourself. Don't really look at life like, okay, I'm doing the basics. I'm going through the motions. I'm doing what society requires me to do like a robot, and I'm okay. So do I really have an issue? I can work a 9 to 5. I can do, like I said, the norm and do that with ease. But we just get into the motion of really doing these things, being a robot, and not actually challenging ourselves, trying new things. Advancing to new levels in life. So quitting weed has, again, changed my life, change my outlook, change my direction and where I want to go. And it probably would do the same for you. So if you're trying to quit weed and you feel like it won't change, is it really a big deal? It can be a big deal. It can change your life. Try it. Go 30 days. If you feel like, okay, 30 days, that's not really a big deal, then, you can go back to smoking every day. It's not a big deal. Until next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. Sorry, this dog is barking. Remember, we are all in this together.
Escape I used to crave. Now I know it's time to break. Strings and synths electrify. Waves of sound, we say goodbye to the haze that held me close. Time to leave what hurts the most. Days fading fast, breaking free from the past. Heart and soul in harmony, finding strength to just be me. Tender notes from violins, breath of life begins within. Hazy clouds begin to part, feel the beating of my heart. Orchestra in perfect tune, underneath the silver moon. Not alone in this fight, love will guide me through the night. Cannabis days fading fast, breaking free from the past. Heart and soul in harmony, strength to just be me. Shadows in the night, looking for the guiding light. Sweet escape I used to crave. Now I know it's time to break.
What's up, guys? Chaz, Charlie, and today on this slightly starting to rain day, I want to discuss the journey or the evolution of my relationship with weed. And maybe I've never actually went through my journey with weed from the beginning on this channel. So I decided today I'll just discuss that on how it started and how I got to this point. So I guess I would say my first introduction to weed was letting this truck pass. Was unfortunately through my mother. My mother started smoking weed when she was in... Charlie, settle down. Started smoking weed when she was in her early 20s. And she never stopped. Still hasn't stopped. Maybe I could say my first introduction was in her stomach, because I don't think she stopped when she was pregnant with me, but whatever. But okay, I always, it was kind of weird. I knew she smoked, and I knew it wasn't cigarettes. Actually, when I was little, I thought my mom smoked heroin. How horrible is that? I thought heroin and marijuana was the same thing. Of course, they're not, but for some amount of years, I thought my mother smoked heroin. It was just weed. Anyway, that was my first introduction to weed, and knowing, something that my mom smoked. I think my first contact high I got from being around her, not knowing what I was really feeling. But, okay, so that's my introduction to weed. So, fast forward, I'm in school. I'm in high school. Now, I had friends who had smoked weed when I was like in the 9th, 10th grade. And even though I knew what weed was, I wasn't at that point interested in partaking myself. I had one friend, she would come to school high, and I would shame her and act like she was out of control, and why are you coming to school high? So, still 10th grade, 11th grade, haven't started yet. So it came to the point where it was my 16th birthday. I got my license. Me and my best friend are going to the Mirrors game, going to Brittany Brown's party. We're going to have a night. And, of course, he had smoked before, so he was like, do you smoke weed? And I was like, yeah. I was lying, trying to seem cooler than what I actually was. So he brought some weed. And that night, because I drove on my 16th, the day I turned 16, I got my license, I drove that night. These kids say they don't want to drive, my son included. We have to force him to drive. There was no forcing me. The day I turned 16, I had a whole night planned out. And that includes some weed, too. So, I smoked for the first time on my 16th birthday that night. And it was cool. I'm not going to say the first time I smoked, I was in love with it. I think he honestly had probably a bad package or a bad stash, because I feel like I should have got higher than what I got my first time smoking. But I wasn't in love, and I didn't hate it either. So it became a part of our weekend thing. We would go to a party, go to a football game, hang out, and he would buy some weed. It was, in the beginning, I would buy the weed. It was usually a dime bag, and we would smoke 1 or 2 blunts that night, and he would take the rest with him, because I didn't, when smoking by myself. So he would benefit and get some extra weed from me, because I wasn't taking it home. But it was a weekend thing. So then eventually, the more I smoked, and let's say I did the weekend thing for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Don't remember, of course, that was 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. So it got to a point where one day I felt like, maybe I want to smoke. Maybe I was stressed out. Maybe I don't know. I wasn't too stressed out. I was 16. But whatever the case, I'm like, maybe I was just bored. I was like, well, maybe I want to smoke by myself at the house. So that weekend, I actually kept my package that I would normally just give him, which he kind of was a little angry about that, but he was not angry, but he got used to getting the extra leftover weed. So I took that stash home and I smoked some weed by myself. And at that point, I'm 16, possibly 17. I'm starting to smoke probably every other day. By the time I got to 16, at that point, I do remember when I got really high. Because I feel like, even though I was smoking, I didn't truly get real high until one day I smoked by myself. And actually, I took some of my mom, because my mom always had a weed stash. She would buy a lot of weed. And she had packages that she didn't care for the quality. So she would buy another and leave it there. So she had a large supply of unsmoked weed that she didn't care for. So, and not to mention, she would never smoke her whole joint. And she would have extremely large doobies. So I decided to take a doobie and smoke that. And that day, when I smoked that, actually maybe I broke it down to a blunt, whatever the case. I smoked some of her stash. And that day, I remember I got high. I had to sit down on the floor. I couldn't walk. I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be high. So maybe I wasn't in love at that point, but I guess had a better appreciation. And, you know, starting off, I'm sure like most smokers, when you get high, you don't really go out in public. I guess I can't say that because I guess my first day I went out in public. We went to a game and a party. But like I said, I'm going to say that was not a good package. I don't know why I didn't get higher than what I got. But I wasn't like smoking weed like going to work or like doing regular stuff. It was a thing I was going to do at nighttime. But at that point, when I, got high for real by myself, we started getting incorporated, me smoking throughout the day. So, flash forward, maybe not flash forward. I had actually one arrest with weed in high school. Me and my best friend and our other third friend, he was the first friend we could actually smoke weed at his house. He stayed with his father, and like most single fathers, they are a little bit more lenient. So we actually smoked weed at his house. But for whatever reason, so apparently he would say that his daddy cared, but he didn't care because he would clearly let us smoke there and sometimes even come smoke with us. But for whatever reason that night, we did not smoke at his house. We smoked down the street from his house, in front of somebody else's house, in a car. Smoked the car out, hot box it, whatever you want to call it. The people's house we were in front of called the police on us. And we all went to juvenile court that night. Not to mention my mom actually worked at juvenile court. And it was my biggest fear if I ever get arrested and had to go there to her job. And that, Charlie, come on here. That came true that night. So that wasn't good, but I didn't stop, of course. My father did give me a ultimatum because he's like, I'm getting in trouble too much because I got suspended too. And he was like, I'm going to drug test you. Get your life together. Get the drugs out of your system. So I did quit weed for like a month or two, which that was pretty hard. At this point I was like 17. And he actually never drug tested me. By month 2, I was like, I think he's bullshitting. And I broke and smoked and just prayed he forgot. And apparently he did, because I was never drug tested. So then, I'm kind of going kind of slow here. So from the ages of let's say 18 to 30, I'm going to say maybe early 30s. I'll go back. I'll say from 18 through 30, there was pretty much like my love affair with weed. That's when I got to a point where hold on, guys. All right, we're back. It's actually raining kind of steady at this point. So from the ages of 18 through 29, there was pretty much like, my steady, consistent relationship with weed. I'm going to say there were no complaints. I smoked every day. I woke up smoking, smoked throughout the day, on my lunch break, before I went to work, after work, before I went to sleep, wake back up, do the same thing. And all my friends pretty much smoked. My wife, girlfriend at the time, she smoked. It was all good, really. I'm going to say no complaints at that point. It became a part of my everyday life. And when I got until my early 30s, when I hit 30, right before I hit 30, I had, but at that point I went through a spiritual reconstruction. I had been Christian bunny ears my whole life, but like most Christians, we don't actually read the Bible, don't actually know the Bible, actually do the same things that atheists would do, but I guess we just go to church on Sunday, or every other Sunday, or every now and then. But early 30s, hit 30, I went through a spiritual reconstruction. I actually started reading the Bible, actually started devoting my life to God. But I was still smoking. So at that point, that was the start of the kind of rift between me and weed. I hadn't stopped, because I always thought that I would probably, maybe I'll stop eventually when I get like 40, 50, which is stupid. Like, if you smoke that long, then, why stop? But I got to a point where it was a slight rift. I started feeling bad about smoking. At that point, I'm not hanging out like that. I have children. I have a family. I'm married. I'm not going to the club, or I'm not living the life of a 22-year-old. All my friends, my best friend at that point, we're not hanging out at all, really. And my wife at that point, she had quit smoking, because when she started giving birth and being pregnant and having children, she, quit and didn't really go back. So at this point, this is my own personal thing, but I'm conflicted at the same time. Like, should I quit? I should quit. I shouldn't still be saying, I shouldn't, my life shouldn't be devoted to God, but I'm still smoking from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. So I would say during that time, early 30s, the start of my trying to wean myself off of weed. So I'm started to where I'm, not smoking. It started because I started observing the Shabbat. So it started with me not smoking on Saturday. Then it went from me trying to smoke every other day. And I would go through spurts of doing that to, I'm just going to like not smoke a whole week or two. And then I would pretty much feel like I did a good job. So I reward myself with smoking and fall back into the cycle of smoking every day. Now, of course, I wasn't smoking 2, 3, 4, 5 blunts a day, but I was still smoking on a daily, weekly, consistent basis. And I was so conflicted. I questioned my spiritual journey, questioned my willpower. Am I a changed person? I've changed so many things. Why can't I quit weed? So my wife had asked me, had I asked God to actually help me with it or take it from me, which I'm not a believer of God will just magically take your pain, troubles, and desires away. It does take personal work. But I was amazed that I hadn't actually brought it to him. I kept it to myself. And keeping it to myself, there really was an excuse for me to just not stop. And when I finally did that, something came over me to where I felt like I have to take control. I was, at this point, hiding it from my wife. It went through it was a whole point or period where I was sneaking to smoke. My wife didn't know I was still smoking weed every day, and I'm like lying and hiding it. So at this point, it's kind of a problem when I'm hiding it. And even she never told me that I couldn't smoke weed or you should quit. But I personally felt like I was doing something wrong, so I was hiding it without her even telling me that I should hide it. So that will start from me hiding it, and then she'll catch me, and I'll lie and say, I only smoke once a week or once every 3 weeks, and I'm like, really, it's every day. But once I asked God, He actually allowed me to have more willpower, have more strength to actually let it go. And I decided at that point that I proved to myself I can go days, weeks without smoking. It's time to make a change. So I told her that I smoked my last blunt after I got caught that weekend, and said this is my last blunt for a while. And next time I smoke, I will smoke. I'm not saying I'm not smoking ever again ever in life, but the next time I smoke, it'll be with you. And my goal was to at least go a year without smoking. And now we're at 2 years. I haven't smoked, have no desire to smoke, and I've healed my relationship with weed. And I have this channel. People say, well, the worst thing about smoking weed every day is talking about weed every day. And I don't talk about weed every day, but I made this channel because I know there are other people who go through or is going through what I went through. And maybe they're second guessing themselves, saying that is the issue. People around me are still doing it. Do I have a problem? But I encourage you, if you do feel like you have an issue with weed or you have an unhealthy balance with weed in your life, take that chance, make that first step to try to change yourself, to try to live a life where you're not dependent on outside sources. So that was briefly my situation with, my relationship with weed. And yeah, it's like raining kind of hard now. I'm getting wet. And Charlie's getting wet. So till next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, comment below. And remember, we are all in this together. Peace.
Everybody used to smoke weed.
wanted in your life, that was all you need. But it was time to set yourself free. And now you're on the other side, and the grass is green. Spent so many years locked in chains, smoked all the dope to block my pain. But now I embrace the struggle, because I'm stronger. I don't need no other. Everyone's lost in the maze, everyone's trapped in a daze. But for me, I can see brighter days, because I let go of the green haze. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is for everybody. Set yourself free. No longer trapped by me.
What's up, guys? Chaz, Charlie, and today I want to discuss changing your environment or changing your surroundings won't cure your weed addiction. And I think this is a big one in people trying to quit weed or go on a sobriety journey from weed. We feel like we need to change our friend group, change our surrounding, get away from those who still continue to consume weed on a daily basis. And I'm not saying we should, if we're trying to quit, we should, be like smoking weed or be around people who still smoke weed on a daily basis. But we can't let our sobriety depend on those around us. When I was trying to quit, I felt like I needed to almost move out of my city in order to not be tempted to buy it, not be around old friends, not be around certain parents that still continue to smoke weed. And I felt like once I am removed from that environment, that would, make it easier for me to stay on a path of sobriety. And I think in life in general, not just with weed or drugs, we feel like we have to be removed from the situation or environment in order to be renewed. And I don't think that's always best, because I think we also have a skewed view of peace. We feel like peace in our lives means that, we will be in a quiet, serene, calm environment where it's no sound, just nature, peace, no chaos, no arguing, no yelling, no insane behavior, just complete serenity. But true peace is when you can still be submerged in a chaotic environment and still be with that peace. In this era of young men going on what they call monk mode, it's easy to go to the mountains or go somewhere where it's peaceful and be peaceful. It's actually starting to rain out here. Let me head back home. It's easy to be in the mountains or somewhere that's quiet and serene and be peaceful. That's like easy. There's another thing to be in the midst of chaos and still be with that peace. True peace within yourself basically comes from within yourself. It doesn't depend on your outside surroundings. You can be around a lot of noise. You can be around crazy people and see people running around with their heads chopped off. You can hear all this and still be within peace within yourself. You're not letting your outside circumstances determine how you feel or how you handle life or handle your mental state. I think it's the same thing with weed. I think the true goal of weed sobriety is when you can go around your old friends who still smoke weed. You can be in an environment where you smell weed or see weed and not be tempted, not be led astray, not be led down your similar path. That's when you have truly conquered weed addiction, because, we can't go about life, saying that as long as I'm removed from that, it won't affect me. Because in a lot of cases, we don't have that option. We don't have that luxury. We are submerged in environments that we'd rather not be in. But we can't truly trying to conquer ourselves and be a better person is when we can be submerged in that environment and still be a changed person, not react in that same environment how we once did. We're working on ourselves, changing ourselves, not changing the environment. Me trying to quit weed, I'm not like going around trying to promote to others they shouldn't smoke weed, or I'm not trying to get others to quit weed or get others to change themselves. I'm strictly working on myself. A lot of times we do like to put our problems on other people. We do like to blame society, blame our environment, blame these outside things on where we are or where we are not in our lives. And I do agree sometimes these outside things do cause us to be in a certain spot or do affect us in certain types of ways, but we can't continue to let that determine how we're going to live our life or determine how we're going to react in life. Another thing too, we'll say triggers, are being around people who still smoke or yada, yada, yada. But what I've realized, the longer I smoke weed, it actually became more of a private thing, where it did start off as a social gathering. In my height of being addicted to weed, I prefer to smoke weed by myself. I prefer to be alone, almost feeling like if I do it alone, I don't really have a problem because nobody knows except for me. So I think the longer we smoke weed, it does become a personal thing, and it's not even about outside influences. It's about something going on within us. Being alone for me was an actual trigger, rather than being around people who smoke weed. They didn't trigger me. I triggered myself. So we cannot continue to use an excuse that people around us or our environment are contributing to us staying in the cycle of addiction. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, don't get me wrong, I don't think we should be going over our weed head friend's house every day. If we're not doing that, why are we still? Because I feel like if you are trying to quit weed, it's not just about weed. You're trying to live a better life in general as a whole. So somebody who's, smoking weed all day, every day, they're probably, you're probably aiming for a higher, a better quality of life than simply just not smoking weed. So why are we still hanging around somebody who, smokes weed all day, every day? And if it's your family, I'm not saying you can't ever hang with them or you can't be around them, because one thing, if weed is what's connecting you guys and you don't have any connection outside of that, then it's probably not your friend anyway. So no, we shouldn't be hanging around people who smoke weed all day, every day if we're trying to quit. But if we happen to be around them at certain times, that shouldn't affect our sobriety journey if we are truly working on ourselves from the inside. So don't let people be an excuse that you continue to smoke weed. Don't let your environment be an excuse for you to stay in your cycle. It's a you thing. It's an inside thing. Let's work from the inside. And we work on things from the inside. The outside will manifest himself. And you won't have an issue with being triggered by friends, by your environment. You can be, like I said, in the midst of chaos and still be within peace within yourself. So that's all I wanted to say today. If you're on your journey and you feel like your friends are triggering you, your environment is triggering you, maybe it's you. Because true conquering weed addiction is you can be around it and it doesn't affect how you react to it. So remember, guys, until next time, again, like, subscribe, share. But most importantly, we are all in this together. Peace.
People tell me that I don't have a problem, so I keep on smoking, so I never solve them. Life's up, life's down, please mute my sound. Times are tough, times are hard, don't know where to start. Keep using weed as my crutch, so I stay without touch. But I gotta make a change in life, I'm starting tonight. Quitting Mary never been so hard, I should've known better from the start. I keep going in circles, I keep chasing the purple, but I must do better for myself. Play these cards I've been dealt. It's time for me to shine, be an example. What I've been given is ample. I'm quitting Mary now, I'm unmuting my sound. Quitting Mary never been so hard, I should've known better from the start. I keep going in circles, I keep chasing the purple, but I must do better for myself. Play these cards I've been dealt. It's time for me to shine, be an example. What I've been given is ample. I'm quitting Mary now, I'm unmuting my sound.
What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie. Today I want to discuss, is Big Pharma pushing weed on us? Okay, when I say Big Pharma pushing weed on us, I'm not saying necessarily do I think when you go to the doctor or the hospital, they're suggesting you take weed or they're replacing painkillers with weed. I'm not saying that I don't think that. But I do think the media itself is pushing weed on us. And me personally, I think, Big Pharma, the media, the big machine, I think a lot of times they all work in tandem with each other. So while I don't necessarily think you going to the doctor's office, they're pushing weed down your throats, I do think with the legalization of weed and media, maybe Big Pharma is in cahoots or collusion with the media. I was going to say the comedia, with pushing weed down our throats. And for what reason? Okay, we know weed has been legalized in many states, whether it's medical or recreational. And I do understand that weed is a better alternative than painkillers that we have been using over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And some people may say that, they're just legalizing weed because they want to, tax weed, or states want to make money. And it's all about a money thing. I agree. I think part of it is money. But I think there's always something deeper than this money. Because first of all, the powers that be, they already have enough money. And we can say, yeah, they're money hungry and they just want more and more and more. Yeah, I agree. But I think there's always a deeper issue going on with just money itself. And we have, of course, many states have legalized it recreationally, medically. So weed is more accepted than it's ever been. We have, the big boom of weed in the late 60s and the 70s with the psychedelic free love hippie movement. And, people were saying that the government was against weed, this whole war on drugs, classifying weed in the same category as, hard drugs like heroin and cocaine and things like that. So it's been debated that, weed is, the government puts weed in this whole war on drugs, hard drugs category, so they can arrest people and condemn these things that are good for society. Okay, because you may say, what's wrong with smoking weed? Nobody, it's not like alcohol. It's not like hard drugs. It makes people happy. It eases anxiety, eases depression, helps with sleep. What's the harm in people smoking weed? It will be a better place if everybody just all smoke weed. So I do agree that, you give people some weed versus some alcohol, people are going to be more relaxed, be more calm, be more relaxed. I'll keep it like that. But is that a good thing in all situations? Because I look at our current political situation, which this is not a political channel. I'm not political. I don't even vote. I think it's all a sham. I think it's all fake. So I'm not picking sides here. But I've noticed, starting with Obama to the current vice president, possible president, they'll say, I smoked weed when I was in college, or, it's like this young person rite of passage thing. And they kind of almost uplift weed. We have this lady who actually I think was lying because she said, "Oh, I smoked weed in college," and it was on the Breakfast Club, and she was like, "Yeah, I smoked weed and listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac." When she was like in college in the late '80s, Snoop Dogg and Tupac did not come on the scene until '93, early to mid '90s. So you're lying, ma'am. Why are you lying? And I think, just like in the 70s, even you can say in the 70s, it wasn't the same thing. I think so. I think we're in the new age 70s, but it's heightened. We have all this war, all this conflict, all this political commotion going on, and they don't really want people to know what is going on. Yesterday, I'm renting, and one of the guys came by to get a quote for us, a new air conditioner, and he advised us, like, in January 25, basically they're going to, new air conditioners are basically going to be let me slow down. The air systems that we're currently using now for Central Air are using I believe it's R22 Freon. I don't know. This could be another. Anyway, they're using an old Freon. Starting in 2025, they have to use the Freon that's in the whole Green Deal initiative. This highly flammable Freon that's actually more expensive. So a lot of prices on electricity, on air conditioning are going to go up year 2025. Most Americans we don't have a clue that's going on. They hit us with all these buzz topics like abortion and LGBTQ rights, but we don't know about these things that are truly going to affect how we live every day, no matter what our own personal preferences are. And I think that these people ultimately want us to be high. They want us to, consume things like weed because it allows us to not be aware of what's going on. We may say, things are stressful and I don't know, things are stressful. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me just smoke some weed to ease my nerves. And the issue with smoking weed daily, every day, and having it in your life, that you're always going to kind of put off problems. You're always going to cushion yourself from what's really going on and not actually make a personal change in your life. People say they use weed for depression, anxiety. Obviously, we have a lot of depression, anxiety going on now. But ultimately, we have to solve what's giving us depression, what's giving us anxiety. If we smoke weed every day, we're going to always just numb ourselves and relax ourselves and not actually make any change. Not making any change in our personal lives. And the danger with weed is, again, it's not like alcohol. It's not like cocaine. It's not like fentanyl. So you can use it for years and years and years, and it seems like it's not a big issue. But it prevents you from actually making any changes. So I do think the media and the government is actually pushing weed on us. I see more mood cannabis advertisements on YouTube. There are all these dispensaries popping up. Of course, it's legalized. Weed is more accepted than it's ever been right now. We have, like I said, presidents telling young folks it's okay if you want to smoke some weed in college. At the same token, they're targeting their political ideologies to these same kids that are in college while they're high. So they're not actually making informed decisions in their clear mind. So we have to be careful on what the media, what the government pushes to us, and to think that it's not in connection with pharmakia don't fool yourself. I think they're all in connection. They all work together. This is all a game. So when I'm saying that, do the doctor system personally push weed on us? No, but they don't have to, because they have the media. They have, again, a lot of states have medical marijuana that's been legalized. And now it's just, and even when it was just medical, many people could just get, these fake cards and easily get medical cannabis as well. But now with many states legalizing it, and even ones that's not legalized it, they have all these CBD shops, and with the whole Delta 9 saying that you do get some psychoactive effects from certain CBD with higher levels of THC. Practically, weed is everywhere that you can consume. And they want you to consume it because they want you to be relaxed. They want your mood to be eased. They want you to be calm while they usher in all these different policies, all these different changes. And before we know it, it's changed. And we're so high and relaxed that, we're not going to do anything about it. Weed is just strong enough to allow you to not kill you, and not put you in a zombie fentanyl bath salts type trance, but enough trance that you won't actually make any changes in your personal life. You won't actually seek any further information. A lot of times we say, weed makes us think, or makes us smarter, makes us wiser. We go into deep thoughts. But you really just have all these different thoughts, and you don't really concentrate on one particular thought. Or if it is concentrated on one thought, it's something so simple. And then the moment you get unstoned, we're just worried about getting stoned again. So we're in this perpetual state of stonedness, and we're not actually making any changes in our personal lives. So I would just say, be very aware of what's going on, what they push towards us, what the media is telling us, what the government is telling, what they're actually not telling us. And try to do it in a sober state. If you want to smoke some weed, every now and then, once a week, not a big deal. I'm not saying you should never smoke weed ever. It's just a bad thing. No. But when we abuse weed daily, and we allow weed to be a part of our daily lives, where we're daily numbing ourselves, starting in the morning on to the evening, we're not actually viewing life in a clear state. And we always have some type of rose-colored glass outlook on society, on the media, on what we personally see. So don't think that, they're not pushing weed on us as this socially acceptable thing for no reason. It's not simply about tax dollars. It's not just about getting income for the big machine. I mean, that's part of it, but they want us to be numb. They don't want us to make any changes personally or demand any changes from them. But if we're high and just happy and just, happy-go-lucky, we don't make those changes. So be aware, guys. So until next time, please like, subscribe, share. If you have something yourself, please comment below. And remember, guys, we are all in this together. Peace.
Used to breathe trees, now I live free. Clearing my mind, got no time for weed. Focused on my hustle, mind in the muscle. Breaking all the chains, feel the brain, gaze will struggle. Mind on the rise, reaching for the skies. No more red eyes, goals I visualize. Beat the old vice, Life like paradise, feeling so nice, a new sober life.
What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie. And today I want to discuss, is being alone one of your triggers? I wouldn't say recently, but I have noticed about myself, probably one of my biggest triggers for having an issue with quitting weed was being alone. When I think about, when my wife would leave the house or I'm at the house by myself, I just felt like there was free time for me to smoke. Smoking started off as a thing I would do with my friends, but the older I got, I still smoke weed. But I started to smoke weed by myself versus it being like this, tool for social interaction. It became my own private thing. So I've noticed if I do, like, at this point in my life, get an urge. I wouldn't say I get urges, but there are moments to where I'm like, okay, I would probably smoke now. It's when I'm alone. When I'm busy or when I'm around people, when I have social interaction, I'm not clamoring to smoke. But it's when I'm alone, when I'm by myself, that's when I get my main urges. And I think about, I thought about also, I fantasized about like going on a solo camping trip by myself, being alone. And I'm like, I probably wouldn't have as much fun because I feel like I would want to smoke weed if I was camping by myself. So I realized being alone is probably, at this point, my main trigger. I'm not triggered by seeing weed. I'm not triggered by smelling weed. I'm not triggered by really thinking about the old days. But the idea of being alone is a big trigger for me. And I could imagine in our society now where especially young men are more alone than ever, don't have much social, this dog, don't have much social interaction. We have most of our interactions, crazy dog, most of our interactions online. So again, we're in a society where a lot of young men are alone. We're not actually meeting friends in person. We're not meeting women in person. So being alone is really maximized today in our society. And when you think about things like addiction, and when you think about when people get addicted, a lot of the reason is the fear of being alone. We don't like being alone with our thoughts. There are many people who can't actually drive to work, drive somewhere without music or without a podcast playing, just driving in silence. The idea of being alone with your thoughts is scary. You got people who can't sleep without a television. And you think these things, almost my whole family, not my wife, my children, but my mom, my siblings, they all sleep with a TV on. And they have always just, took it as something being normal. But it's really not normal to want to sleep with sound going, want to sleep with news on, want to sleep with... My mom actually watched crime shows, which I like. Their dreams have to be horrible. But anyway, people who can't even sleep in silence, that's crazy. People cannot sleep in silence, let alone drive to the store or just be at the house thinking. So I think addiction, does really feed off this idea of being alone, being depressed. We all want to be depressed. Depression is in style now, but a lot of it is driven from being alone, because as humans, we are made to be in a tribe. We're made to be around people. We're made to have family. We're made to have friends. We're made to have spouses. We're made to have significant others. And when we don't have that, versus, us thinking we don't want that or we don't need that, our natural body does need that. So We're making up for that in society now, while we're consuming more social media, watching more internet, taking more drugs. We're kind of out. The alcohol isn't big as it was, which is good. People shouldn't drink like that because there are more physical side effects to alcoholism. But with that being said, we're doing much more drugs. We're, like I said, taking much more weed, much more psychedelics, much more pills, much more hard drugs like fentanyl. And it is stemming from being alone or the fear of being alone. So if you've noticed yourself, when you're by yourself and you get the urge to want to smoke, I think that's normal. But I think we should learn to fight that urge, do something better with your time, go work out, go do a couple push-ups, but don't let being alone be a trigger for you to fall into the cycle of addiction. Because although we are creatures that, need interaction and need a tribe and need significant others, it's also good to have a long time. It's good to sit in silence. It's good to take a walk by yourself. The idea of me actually walking, I didn't like walking without smoking. Whether I was walking Charlie or walking by myself, I either wanted to be high or be smoking while I'm walking. So just this simple task, to me, I didn't feel complete unless I was actually high or smoking. But a long time is good. It's good to process your mind, process your thoughts, and really, learn about yourself. Because a lot of times we don't even know our true selves. Like, everybody got out of control fucking dogs. I'm so sick of barking fucking dogs. So, anyway. I'm sorry, guys. My nerves are irked. But being alone is good. It's good to know yourself. A lot of times we don't actually know ourselves. We don't actually deal with our own emotions. We don't actually deal with our own feelings. And we don't know that until we mute all the noise, till we sit in silence, till we actually meditate on our thoughts. And we shouldn't do that while we're high, because sometimes weed can kind of either dictate or kind of collude our thoughts. We need to be thinking in our most natural, in our true self, in our most clear state of mind. So guys, until next time, I would love for you to like, subscribe, share. Most importantly, I would love for you to comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel. Until next time, guys, we are all in this together. Peace.
Light the flame, burn the haze, losing track, losing days, thoughts all fading, turning gray, time to find a better way. Eyes so heavy, mind adrift, searching for a needed shift. Got to let go, got to lift, make this change, give life a gift. Breaking free from smoking nights, holding tight to clearer sights. In the dark I'll find my light, letting go, I'm taking paths once blurred, now crystal clear.
What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie, and today I want to discuss abusing weed is like taking Ozempic. And before you click off, let me explain. There are two different takes I've thought about this. Okay, so if you don't know, I'm sure you know what Ozempic is. It's a weight loss drug that basically causes you to not eat, suppresses your appetite, which allows you to lose weight. Many celebrities are taking this drug and losing weight rapidly. The public is taking this drug and losing weight rapidly. Quite expensive. But you have a lot of people that's using it. Okay, first take. You got people who's taking Ozempic that, okay, they are, obese or morbidly obese, and they need to take the drug to give them a head start on losing some weight rapidly, because they may have issues with diabetes, so on. But the issue arises that a lot of these people are not pursuing lifestyle change. So they're taking these drugs, they're losing weight fast, but they're not changing their diet. They're not, because actually if you take the drug, you lose weight, but you lose a lot of protein. So you really have to go on a diet, preferably a high protein diet, so you don't lose a lot of muscle mass permanently. So people are taking this drug without actually pursuing a lifestyle change, causing them to basically have to stay on a drug for forever because they, don't want to keep the weight off naturally. Alright, so again, people are using this drug and not pursuing lifestyle change. So it's helping them, but it's kind of not helping them because it's becoming a crutch. And they're continuing to have to use it, and it's expensive. I think dogs are idiots. That so gets on my nerves. I let him stay outside an hour or two before we go on a walk, so he can go ahead and get his shit out of his system, but it never fails. That gets on my nerves. Anyway, okay, so let's bring weed into the picture. Okay, people say, a lot of the debate or the feedback on weed is, I smoke weed for anxiety. I smoke weed for sleep issues. I smoke weed for depression. I have medical conditions that I need weed, and this helps me out, and it's better than, regular pharmaceuticals. And I agree, but weed is still a drug, whether it's natural or made in a lab. It's still a drug, which means it can help you, but it's only for short-term use. If you have sleep issues, yeah, it will help you. It can benefit you by getting you some sleep, but ultimately we should still find out why we're not sleeping. If you have anxiety issues, yeah, it can temporarily alleviate your anxiety, but we should find out why we having anxiety. Weed doesn't cure these things, it just temporarily relieves them. And when we don't actually pursue change or pursue a lifestyle change, we just fall in this cycle of needing weed every day and all day. So taking Ozempic and you're not seeking a diet change is just like smoking weed for anxiety, for sleep, but you're not trying to find out the underlying issues. And when we smoke weed for years and years and years, we have probably exacerbated our anxiety. We probably worsened our sleep issues. And now when we're trying to quit weed, we can't quit. We have to smoke weed our whole life. Just like Ozempic, we've taken it for so long. And I mean, if you're taking it for a long period of time, like you must be rich, because it's quite expensive. But we're needing it every day, all day, because we're not actually trying to change things on our own. We should use these things. We can use these things as a head start, as a push, as a kick, as a starter. But ultimately, if we're not trying to improve these things on our own, they're going to be in vain, and we end up like needing these things in order to live, become dependent on them. And that's not the goal of any drug or anything. It should be for temporary use. Okay, now there's a second take on this. Okay, you have people who take Ozempic, they don't need it. Okay, you have women that are not clinically overweight, don't have diabetes, they just want to, lose 10, 15 pounds for aesthetic purposes, to fit in a dress. They're going to a class reunion. And those people, and also teenagers, you have teens who are so obsessed with appearance, so obsessed with looking a certain way, whether it's due to social media or the media or whatever. They're taking these drugs to lose weight when they really don't even need them. So let's transfer this to weed. Again, I've said weed can help if you have. Personally, I recommend you only smoke weed, ingest weed, if you are over the age of 25, if your brain is fully developed. We have a case of kids starting weed at 16, 15, at a young age for anxiety, and they're messing their systems because they don't even know how to handle anxiety on their own. You should not, and anxiety is so big in today's culture for youngsters. They think it's this handicap. So they'll say, well, I smoke weed because my anxiety. Anxiety is everywhere. Anxiety exists all the time. That's normal. And these kids don't think that's normal. They think that it's this abnormality. So they start abusing weed. They start taking things like psychedelics and all these other drugs because they're trying to alleviate anxiety, not giving their body a chance to actually handle it on their own, not learning their mind and learning how to handle situations on their own, building up your brain, learning how to be a problem solver, learning how to handle stress under stressful situations. And they feel like, what am I going to do? I'll just smoke some weed. So by the time they get into their 25, when their brain is fully developed, it's developed needing weed. They've actually changed their epigenetic structure of their brain, of their mind. So that's the case. People are saying they take weed for anxiety or smoking for anxiety, and they really don't have crippling anxiety. So they're just getting high and enjoying the effects of weed, enjoying the high, enjoying the THC, in turn doing it every day, all day. They're changing the structure of their brain, of their DNA, and they don't even handle problems like they should. They don't even know how to handle problems in a sober state. So when you get to an adult age and life happens, you lose jobs, you're paying bills, you have relationship issues, weed has almost handicapped their brain from actually handling these issues on their own. So, yeah. So, if you have a addiction issue with weed, or you're battling trying to quit, try to look at it like that. Look at it like, am I using weed like Ozempic? Am I taking weed for issues but still not pursuing change at the same time. In turn, I'm not actually solving my problem. I'm just really temporarily masking the problem, but introducing a whole nother problem. If you're trying to get better sleep, find out why you're not sleeping. If you have anxiety, find out why you have anxiety. It's for a reason. Is it your job? Is it your relationships? What is it? Ask yourself, find out. And if you are a teen or a young adult and you're, just smoking weed for the fun of it and using anxiety as an excuse, beware that you're changing how your brain reacts to stress, reacts to sleep. And you're setting up yourself for a more difficult time in your adult age. So I'll just leave this here. If you guys have a different take, different thoughts, feel free to comment below. But until next time, guys, remember we are all in this together. And till next time, guys, peace.
Used to breathe trees, now I live free. Clearing my mind, got no time for wait. Focused on my hustle, mind in the muscle. Breaking all the chains, feel the brain gaze will struggle. Mind on the rise, reaching for the skies. No more red eyes, goals I visualize. PPO vice, life like paradise. Feeling so nice, a new sober life.
What's up, guys? Chaz and Charlie. And today we are back on our walk. Last week I was in the car. It was bad weather all last Friday. Guess we were getting the last the outskirts effect of Helen. But back a nice Friday out here. And today we're going to discuss, what if I quit weed but I'm not sober? Because there is a movement out here. Not a movement, I'm saying, when you have battle with addiction, even from one substance, you may just try to eliminate all substances. That's definitely a thing I know in AA. When they're trying to quit alcohol, although some alcoholics do replace it with weed, they say it's best to not have another substance, because you just get addicted and may lead you back into the alcohol or what you like in the first place. But what if you're trying to quit weed, but you're not sober, you still do other things? So I would fall in this category. I'm not. There's some people in the niche that may, say you should cut out everything. Shouldn't drink. Shouldn't smoke weed. Shouldn't do drugs. Shouldn't do caffeine, energy drinks, coffee, porn. Okay, whereas, I don't think things like, I don't think we should be addicted to any of these things, but I don't believe necessarily you have to cut out everything because you have an addiction to one thing, because different things have effects on different people. Of course, it's the argument that which is worse, alcohol or weed. So people use justifications to not quit weed because they say, well, I could be drinking, and drinking is worse. I'm sorry, guys. You may have heard me complain about this, before many times. I just don't understand why dogs shit when they walk. Charlie has been outside for an hour and a half before we started our walk. Why didn't you shit before we started our walk? Also, Charlie is 9 years old. Like, at this point, he's approaching being a senior citizen dog. Like, that it gets on my nerves. Anyway. So, things affect people. Different things affect people differently. You know, some people can smoke weed and it's not a big deal. They can smoke it every now and then and it not lead to being an everyday thing. Some people, like myself, can have a drink every now and then and it's not going to lead to me drinking every day. Like at some point, well, in the next week or so, we're going on vacation. And on vacation, I drink every day. But by the end of each vacation, like the last day, I'm kind of just drinking just because I can and I'm off and it's a vacation. But I'm kind of like tired of drinking by the 6th day. And I just could not drink every day. I just don't find drinking. Eventually you get sick and it mess with your stomach and make you, I don't know. I couldn't, I guess, be a alcoholic, I suppose, because eventually I just want to stop. But weed is different. Some people say, well, weed isn't addictive, you know, just quit. That's the same thing you could say with alcohol or with drugs. They'll say, well, no, those things are physically addictive. I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, you might get sick, but you still have to just quit when it all boils down, whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed. But certain things have different effects on people. I can't smoke weed once a week or once a month. It'll be like that for a short period of time. Then I'll say, well, I'm smoking once a week. I'll just smoke every other day. It'll go from every other day to every day. Once every day, I'll start to get used to the amount and start saying, well, I need to smoke 2 blunts a day. And it's a spiral for me. I would like to be a person that can just enjoy weed actually, I can now. I haven't tried since I quit. But I do think I'm in the position to where, and I'll let you guys know when I cross that bridge and I, smoke one day. I will be transparent and let you know how it goes. But I feel like I could smoke once for a celebration and be okay and not go back. But as far as smoking weed once a month, I couldn't do that because it'll slowly turn into once a week. And like I said, the cycle continues, and I'm sure it's like that with some people with alcohol. So I'm a boring person because I'm approaching 40 and I have 3 children and I'm old, so I don't live an exciting life. But I'm not with this whole straight edge thing either. Straight edge, and this is a side rant. I don't understand straight edge side because usually those people have a lot of tattoos, and it's I want to look like I'm doing drugs or drinking, but I don't. What's the point? If I'm gonna tap my whole body up, what's the harm in having a drink every night? I don't know. Maybe you just want to fall into addiction because maybe your family had issues with addiction. So different strokes, different folks. But I'm not this. Don't do anything. Don't drink coffee. Don't drink this. I'm not even saying don't smoke weed. But if you have a weed addiction problem, maybe you ought to fix it. Maybe you shouldn't smoke for at least a year to reset your system and not be addicted. Because we shouldn't be addicted to anything that we don't need. Point blank. So I'm not like this, just live a straight laced life. I understand times are hard. You may have a rough week. You may want to celebrate. And you may want to have a drink. You may want to smoke a joint. I'm not a prude. Anybody that tells me they don't drink coffee or they don't drink, I don't know, I have to side eye them. I'm sorry. And usually people who say that are like usually sexually promiscuous. I'm not judging everybody in that category. I'm not, but I watch people who say they don't drink coffee. Like, your life sucks. Anyway, but if you have an issue with alcohol, then of course you need to quit. And even with alcohol, and from my observation, maybe you shouldn't like drink at all if you have an issue with alcoholism. But just because you have an issue with one thing, don't mean you have to cut out the other. So, me personally, I don't live this straight edge life. I still have, like I said, I have date nights with my wife. We have drinks. I go on vacation. I have drinks. I still drink on a weekly to bi-weekly basis. Once a day, usually. Once, like, I'm not drinking multiple days throughout the week. But like I said, who wants to do that? Who wants... Too much liquor makes you sick. Like, who wants to be sick? I can smoke weed all day, every day, and not be sick. I can imagine waking up with a drink. Like, that's... I can comfortably wait to the end of my day to have whatever drink I'm going to have. When I was smoking weed, that was not the case. I started smoking from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. So I personally had a problem with weed itself. So I don't think we should feel compelled. If you want to still have an energy drink, if you want to still have a cocktail, and you don't have an issue with that, have a cocktail. Have some coffee. Like, I don't know why. First of all, coffee is not the same thing. I hate people say, well, caffeine is addictive. No, like, it's coffee. Like, get a grip. But if you don't have an issue with a certain substance, excuse me, guys, and this dog is off his fucking leash. People in there, I started to say something that may get me canceled, but hold on, guys. But yeah, don't make a big deal out of something that's not a big deal for you. You can recognize you have an issue with a certain substance and not just rule anything out. Now you know yourself better than I do, so maybe if you don't cut out everything, maybe you're a person that feels like if I have an issue with weed and I continue to drink, eventually I associate getting drunk with weed. So eventually if I get drunk enough or drink enough liquor, that'll make me want to actually go back to weed and I'll be back addicted. I can't. If that's your case, if that's you, okay, maybe you should cut everything out. But for me, that wasn't an issue. Liquor doesn't make me want weed. I like weed strictly by itself. And my control is very weak with weed. Like I said, if you know yourself and what you're capable of and what's a trigger or issue with you. So don't make life harder than what it has to be. You know, you may want to, I'm not against you, having a breather, taking the edge off, celebrating. Like I said, if we go out with you, like if I go out with you, I'm sorry, for me to like you, I want you to at least drink. You have to drink coffee or have a drink. I'm sorry. Or you can smoke weed. I'm not a prude, like, oh, I can't be around you. You're smoking or you're drinking. I know I have a weed addiction problem, so I need to stop. And I made this channel to help people who may be going through this similar thing. But, like, I'm an adult. I'm not. I can take it. And like I said, I'm not. I think if you don't do anything, you're a prude. I'm sorry. Maybe this is coming off hypocritical. Some people say, well, you're promoting drinking. I'm not promoting drinking. I'm saying you know yourself. You know what your trigger is. You know your limits. You know what you are addicted to. So handle your life. Handle your vices accordingly. So guys, that was just a brief video. I'm going to hop on here and discuss with you guys. What do you feel? Do you feel like you should cut everything out if you quit one thing? If you drink, should you just cut out weed too? If you smoke, should you cut out liquor too? Coffee, everything? What do you think? Maybe you're a person that has to cut out everything to level yourself out. Or maybe you're like me and say, it's not a big deal. If you want to drink every now and then, have a drink. Now, if you have a problem with getting addicted to, if you think you have an issue with you replacing your addiction to weed with an addiction to liquor, then yeah, that's a different thing. But you don't have to just cut it out and say, I won't have a drink ever, because unless you just don't want to drink. I mean, maybe liquor is just not your thing at all. I know some people who smoke weed who just don't like to drink. But yeah, so hop off here, guys. Like I said, comment below, like, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, we are all in this together. Peace.
Midnight sun got the cap pulled down. Country road singing in this uptown town. 808s busting through the heart of the street. Ready for a shift, no more smoking that sweet. Crack the dawn and we're done with the haze. No more lost nights in the purple days. Guitar strums, beats heavy on my chest. Gonna find my way, give this life my best. Yo, I'm done with the green, taking back my life. Breaking that chain, no rolling that dice. In the club under neon lights, I thrive. 808s pumping, country soul, I'm alive. Gravel paths meet with city streets. Folk tunes twisted with those hip-hop beats. No more clouds, now my mind is clear. Staring at the future, ain't no looking in the rear. Got that old guitar, strumming true. Mix it with the bass and a beatbox crew. Friends saying why, but I got my own rhyme. Taking back control, one day at a time. Left that old life in a smoky haze. Now I'm in the groove with these fresh new days. Two-stepping forward, ain't a trace of doubt. Club lights flashing as I shout it out. Yo, I'm done with the green, taking back my life. Breaking that chain, no rolling that dice. In the club under neon lights, I thrive. 808s pumping, country soul, I'm alive. Yo, I'm done with the green, taking back my life. Breaking that chain, no rolling that dice. In the club under neon lights, I thrive. 808s pumping, country soul, I'm alive.
What's up, guys? So this is a different day. I'm not walking with Charlie. It's a extremely bad rainy day. Maybe we get in some of the hurricane weather here. So I was gonna not film, but it was bothering me to not film. So I'm gonna shoot this in the car on the way to the grocery store. So today's topic is, can I work while high, or can I smoke ganja and still be the most productive worker? So I previously discussed the idea about like smoking while you're at work, but can we make you a better worker, or can you be the same worker while you're smoking? Because I've, like many potheads, you know, myself included, will say that I can smoke or I can be high and work, it doesn't affect my work. I even may say that I was more productive when I was working. I was more creative, or I was in a better mood, so that made me a better worker. So can smoking make you a better worker? I recently looked at a video this week from Modern Wisdom where Dr. Mike was on there, and he was saying that, you know, he does smoke, but
Yeah, Kari is going fast. But he waits till he's finished with work before he partakes. And I totally agree with that. But I think the longer you smoke, the more it becomes ingrained into your life that you smoke while you work. Most potheads that are addicted who smoke weed every single day, from sun up to sundown, we're not going to not smoke at work. We're going to smoke at work and justify it being okay because weed makes you a better worker. Some people come in and say, well, you know, I made, you know, $15,000 this month while I still smoke. So is weed really does it really affect me? And I would say if you can do that while you're smoking, what could you do if you weren't smoking? We'll say, well, you know, sorry. What could you, if you are that productive, if you are that functional while you're high, what could you do if you weren't high? And also when I would smoke at work and I'll make a mistake, I would blame weed. So if once I finally did quit, not saying you don't make mistakes at work if you aren't high. We all are human. We make mistakes whether we make mistakes whether we're high or whether we're sober. But I don't want to feel like I'm doing less of a job because I am getting high, because I am smoking. So to avoid the confusion in my brain and second guess myself on whether, you know, I'm actually limiting myself by smoking weed, why not just not smoke weed at work? And although I would also say weed will make you a more creative person, but it tends to make your mind go to like several different ideas, several different topics, but you don't actually concentrate on one particular thing. So while weed may fool you into thinking that, you're so creative, you're such a deep thinker while you're high, it's kind of just really making your mind go all over the place, and you're not actually devoting your mind into one single concentration. So you really effectively don't get anything done because you have spread your mind too thin. Now you can smoke and come up with an idea, but once you're in your sober mind, try to weed them out to see if it really was a good idea, or maybe you were like just extremely high. And also with weed, we a lot of times ingrain weed in every part of our life. We'll say, well, I can't hang out with friends if I'm not high. I can't eat food if I'm not high. I can't sleep. I can't work. And when we get to a point where we can't do life's normal things without being high, it's kind of taking control in your life in a more negative way. So don't let weed fool you into thinking you need weed just to work, because it's a tricky thing. Most people realize that, maybe not, they don't realize it, but I mean, there are people who do drink and go to work, because I do know people who drink and go to work. But if you are going to work while you're smoking, if you've been smoking so much, people can't really tell if you have smoked. So you will say, well, nobody knows I'm really high, so is it like really a big deal? But I think the minute we start to second guess ourselves, or start to, think that we're beyond, that we can't be ourselves, we can't do our best job unless we're high, weed has presented a problem in our lives. Just brief video today. So I just wanted to just discuss that. So, if you feel like maybe you can smoke stuff all the time, and be okay and it's not really affecting your work. Maybe you work better while you're doing it. Maybe you have fooled yourself into thinking that's the case. We all do it. We all have done it. But like I said, I'll leave you with, if you can do okay while you're high, think how much better you could be at work if you're sober. You may say, well, I talk to people, so like it makes me deal with people better, so I'll be worse. But well, still, like I said, when we get to the point where we feel like we need it in every facet of our life, then we may want to cut back a little bit or cut back altogether. Whatever the case, let me know how you feel below. Till next time, guys, please like, subscribe, share, and remember, we are all in this together. Stay safe out there. Peace.